Welcome back to On Texas Football. I'm Jeff Howe, joined by CJ Vogel and Rod Babers. It's been a crazy week on the 40 acres, and we're going to recap all of it here on this edition of On Texas Football. This is brought to you by our friends over at Advanced Pain Care. We'll hear more from Advanced Pain Care here later in the show. But Rod, I want to start with you and get your thoughts on the Jabbar Juluke hire. We've all had some time to let it settle in now. Your thoughts on the former Florida running backs coach, longtime SEC assistant, deep ties to Metro New Orleans. Jabbar Juluke, the new running backs coach. Rod, your thoughts?
I think it's a hell of a hire. You talk about the ties to Louisiana. We know Sark is trying to recruit Louisiana a whole lot more. It's one of the most fertile recruiting grounds in the country. Also, of course, ties to Florida, going there with Billy Napier from Louisiana. So he's got ties to both, and both of those are two of the most fertile recruiting grounds in Texas more and more. Starting to dip into those kind of SEC areas of the country. Now they're part of the SEC. So I love the recruiting ties, and him as a developer of talent. I think there's a strong resume there as well of guys who have performed at high level under him, especially in his time in the SEC. And I think here at Texas, he'll have access to that kind of high level talent too. And hopefully, we don't know, but hopefully he also can bring a strong recruiting sales pitch, trying to bring Jaden Baugh to the 40 acres. I know a lot of Longhorn fans are hoping that can be kind of a package deal. I don't know if it's a guaranteed package deal, but at least now you put yourself in a prime position as one of the top schools to land him if he decides that he would like to hit the transfer portal.
At the very least, this is Sark reinventing the run game. And we've talked a lot on this channel about how the run game just was not up to snuff in any way, shape, or form in 2025. CJ, Sark was pretty quick to move on from Chad Scott at the end of the season. And, unlike some of these searches where he might take a candidate off the beaten path, Jabbar Juluke's name came up right off the bat. This was Sark's guy, made the hire. Is he done, CJ? Sark done shuffling pieces on this staff?
No, I think, of course, that's kind of the big question. You mentioned, reshuffling and kind of reinventing that run game, which hasn't been up to snuff over the last 2 years. Look, I think there are other pieces still to go, and I think you'll get to some of those, reshuffling of the staff after the bowl game once everything has kind of settled. Of course, there's still movement to be made across college football in terms of head coaches. Texas, we know, will be at least in the market for some additional staff and support, additional support there, and the movement's coming over the next month or so. So it's coming. Just kind of have to wait it out until we get to that point.
Exactly. Guys, let's talk about the Citrus Bowl. And obviously this week there was a monkey wrench thrown in that prep with the Sharon Moore situation at Michigan. Biff Poggi's going to be the interim. Initially we were wondering, hey, is Michigan just going to opt out of the bowl game? Because, hey, teams are opting out of bowl games now, and you wouldn't blame them with the situation. But sounds like they're going to play the game. Biff Poggi's the interim. But Rod, there are a few Longhorns that are not, as of right now, looking like they're going to be with the team for the bowl game. Bowl game departures, bowl game opt-outs that we've confirmed at On Texas Football. Anthony Hill, Trey Moore, Ethan Burke, Jalen Gilbo, Michael Taaffe, and have not confirmed for sure Malik Muhammad, but it sounds like he's most likely not going to play in the bowl game. Rod, when you look at these bowl game opt-outs, number one, do any of them surprise you? And number two, who on this roster do you think stands to gain the most from these bowl game opt-outs?
Yeah, I just wonder if we're done, right? Because there's some other guys who could make some different decisions here too, coming up for this bowl game. But yeah, I think the young guys, there's no question. I mean, you start looking at it, it's got to be the young secondary. I mean, you got Gilbo's going to be, out of this bowl game. Taaffe deciding to opt out. I believe we all think Malik Muhammad, is going to potentially declare for the draft, and he's going to opt out as well. That's the case. I mean, the young secondary, I think there's no doubt they have the most to gain from the reps that'll be available in practice, but also the reps that are going to be available in this game versus Michigan. So that's the group, and it's a lot of those young. And we have obviously some guys. We'll talk about transfer portal. There's some opportunities there, but I think for those young DBs hoping to make a move, this spring practice can be that youth movement that we talked about late in the season. You could see that really start to, accelerate a little bit during this bowl season, considering all the opt-outs in the secondary.
CJ, and again, just to clarify, those guys have not been practicing with the team as through Friday's practice. But CJ, a group that has been on the practice field, All 5 of the starting offensive linemen for those last couple of games, with DJ Campbell at right guard, Connell Robertson at center, Cole Hudson at left guard, including Trevor Goosby. Jerry Hamilton reported on Friday over at ontexasfootball.com that it's better than 50-50. According to his sources, that Trevor Goosby will be back for 2026. CJ, I know you've got most likely Connor Robertson's moving on. We know Cole Hudson and DJ Campbell are moving on because they're out of eligibility. You guys can play football, it just can't be here anymore. You got to go on to whatever's next. But CJ, what's your take on the offensive line if Texas gets Trevor Goosby back for 2026?
Yeah, well, first and foremost, it's huge that this is the unit that's continuing to practice on the field and to sit up there and protect Arch Manning, right? You don't want Arch playing in a game in which it's guys like me up there protecting for him, right? So you want your starting day one guys up there. That's, of course, very valuable. Sark even mentioned towards the back end of the season, he's like, hey, man, we're advising all these guys to come get more tape against another really strong opponent. If they want to boost their draft stock, this is a great opportunity to add to a run of Georgia, Arkansas, and A&M at the back end. Oh, and here's Michigan. Play your best football at the back end of the season and leave your career at Texas in a great note. So for DJ Campbell, Cole Hudson, look, I think that's a fantastic opportunity. The big thing for me, and look, we saw it with Sam Ehlinger against Colorado's. You come out, you play a series or two, you get your send-off, you wave to the fans. Maybe it's something like that, but it's a final send-off in the right way in which you come out and you start the game. You go through all the bowl practices with the guys that you spent 4+ years with, right? I think that's valuable. I think that's honorable as well. So I'm excited for it, and I think it's in the best interest of everybody involved that the starting offensive line ends up performing in this game.
We'll get back to it, but right now, with the help of a couple of lifetime Longhorns, let's hear from our friends over at Advanced Pain Care.
Pros know the pain stops here.
Physical therapy helps me as an athlete then and now. And do I still need therapy? Yes. And Advanced Pain Care helps with that.
Injuries will stack up. They'll add up. You can't let those injuries get you down, and Advanced Pain Care has been very helpful for me.
We can help with whatever's got you down, from nerve damage to our spinal cord stimulator. Pain is inevitable. Suffering is optional. Same-day appointments available.
Advanced Pain Care. The pain stops here.
Rod, real quick, I know you're pretty dialed into what's going on as far as the matters in the National Football League and the draft. And it's not worth having the conversation. Look, bowl opt-outs are going to happen. Like, that's just the way, that's the nature of the beast. But guys that are maybe not locks to be first-round picks, that their stock could be all over the place, what is the risk-reward you think for those guys? Do you play in the bowl game or do you not? Because I think CJ makes a valid point based on what Sark said. Hey, it's an opportunity for you to get some quality film, but at the same time, an injury could have you going from a third-round guy to maybe you're a late rounder or undrafted free agent.
It seems like back in my day, and that's how I know I'm old, because I can say that, and it was a long time ago. Opt-outs wasn't even a thing. But even most recently, it seems like it was just for first and second round pick, like guys are going to be highly drafted guys. And now it does seem like, hey, if you're going to get drafted, you opt out almost. Like if you're given a draftable grade of any kind, that these guys are opting out. Because I am with you. I think some of the Longhorns that I'm looking at, maybe question if they'll be drafted at all. And they're still opting out of the bowl game. So I think they are being advised, hey, it's not worth the risk at all. Let's start your offseason process as soon as possible. Let's get you obviously ready for the combine. If you get that invite, get you ready for pro days. And let's get you into the off-season mode so that we can increase your draft stock that way. They think the risk reward that you're not going to increase your draft stock that much off of this one bowl game, especially now with Biff coaching it, and the scandal now basically has made Michigan a fustercluck, if you will. And so it's probably not worth it for you. There's plenty of film on these guys if you really want to break it down against elite competition, right? Against top 10 teams. Is this Michigan game really going to make or break it for any scout? Probably not. Let's be honest here. So I think now that the agents are just advising them, guys, not worth the risk. Now, college football playoff game, hell yeah, go. That's money. Everybody's watching. That one may be worth the risk for you because you're talking about a championship. But if it's not for a championship, it's an exhibition game, probably not worth the risk.
Yeah. CJ, I'll put you on the spot. Is Trevor Goosby the starting left tackle for Texas in 2026? Yes or no?
I think so. I think he is. Look, and again, it could get dicey when it comes to some of these projections, right? And we've talked about the Matt Miller prospect list. He was number 15. If that's kind of the consensus moving forward, I think it's very difficult to say no to guaranteed first-round money as a left tackle, right? Get that clock going, work towards that second contract. You're at a money position. That would make sense to me. But, and that's, Rod, I'll let you fill that one in, right?
The Kim Kardashian, Nicki Minaj are reading size, Cardi B size, and Megan Thee Stallion size. But there you go.
Thank you. But that, of course, comes also with his brother moving to campus, playing basketball. The family's very happy in Austin. They're on the sidelines before the games, every single home game at DKR. That's exciting stuff. And to get that 1 year, I'm sure Texas obviously is going to take care of the blind side of Arch Manning as well, especially considering the way in which, look, his final game against A&M and the way that he essentially just manhandled Cassius Howell. How could you not take care of your left tackle? So, look, he's going to be fine either way when it comes to the NIL dollars or the NFL draft. But I'm putting him on this 2026 depth chart and roster starting lineup, whatever you want to call it. He's penciled in for me right now.
Beautiful.
Rod, on the transfer portal, Texas has several guys that have already announced their intentions to hit the transfer portal. And just to run down that list again, Trey Owens at quarterback, your running backs, Jarrett Gibson. We expect Ricky Stewart to be in there at some point, but he has not been with the team for a while now. CJ Baxter is in the portal, Aaron Butler, Connor Stroh on the offensive line, and then you flip it over to defense. Melvin Hills on the defensive line is headed to the portal. Derek Williams is the latest portal entry, second guy in the secondary to announce their intention to hit the portal, along with Santana Wilson, and then obviously Will Stone has been in there for a minute. I think it's important to point out none of these moves have caught the staff off guard, and I think for us here at On Texas Football, what we've been reporting here on the channel and over at ontexasfootball.com, I don't think any of these moves are a surprise. But Rod, just your take on pick any of these portal moves, good, bad, and different. Just what are your thoughts on this first wave of portal entries for Texas?
I think it says a lot. Talked about the transformation of the run game overall when we talked about the new running backs coach for Texas, Juluke, and I think that continues looking at the running backs who have departed Texas, right? Texas was supposed to try to get into more of a power run game, ground and pound, and the two best power backs that they had are going to the portal. CJ Baxter and Jerry Gibson, right? That's it, so it tells you something about they're going to remake the whole thing. We're talking about a complete overhaul in the run game overall. So I think that's something you can see. And the secondary, that Derek Williams, that one hurts a little bit in my opinion, because I do think he had starter caliber upside. And I think if he had come back 100% off the injury, I don't think he still was there. Same thing with Cedric Baxter. I don't think he was 100% coming back from that injury. I do think he'd have been much better. Some teams don't get a steal, in my opinion. I think next season, when he's a lot healthier, back to his old form, I do think he's got, like I said, potential to be a star at the safety position. So that's a bit of a loss, but you got other guys you've been bringing in the secondary too. So I think it also points out that, that secondary is also something that you might have to pay attention to in the transfer portal. We know the run game with the O-line and the running backs. Of course, that's going to be a priority. But the secondary probably is going to be your third biggest priority in the transfer portal after O-line and running back.
CJ, do you agree with Rod about the priority secondary kind of moving up on the priority list, number one? And number two, you've thrown the number out there upwards of 20 guys that we could see leave this program. And I know that sounds like a lot, but keep in mind there is no spring portal window. This is it. You still think 20 is probably about the number that we see depart when things are said and done?
Yes, but I think that might be kind of the ceiling. I thought I'm, kind of seeing how this week's played out. And obviously, considering this week, the 8 or 9 guys that have entered already, it wasn't necessarily the pace that I was expecting. So that's a great sign for Texas, right? I thought we'd see a much faster insert to the portal. And, that's still obviously to come. We're 18 days away from the game. We're 21 days away from the portal opening up on January 2nd as we're recording this currently. So, look, plenty of time still. And, look, those practices are still valuable to get tape to continue to develop. So I think that's a big part of it. But 20 is still that number that I'm targeting at the moment. I did think it's really interesting because, look, Rod, you mentioned running back. Jeff, I'll get to secondary here in a sec. But, Jarrett Gibson, CJ Baxter gone. I've heard both ways for Trey Wisner. He's returning. He's going pro. We're going to have to wait and see. My number at running back is still 2. And I think you go get a bell cow, a big body guy, and I think you get somebody that kind of fits the role of what we saw Keelan Robinson play. I know Texas likes to utilize that of Ryan Niblett, but just kind of based off of what we've seen this year, I don't know if that's something that they're going to want to run back again unless it's Jermaine Bishop. That's going to be something to monitor as well. But to the safety, cornerback spot, yeah, absolutely. I think they go out and they target one at each spot. If Grayson Littleton does move off of the nickel spot, hey, that's a valuable spot. Do you want experience? Do you want production? If you can find someone with both, that's a fantastic spot for Texas to go fill. Safety, absolutely. I like Jonah Williams, but no spring football is going to be very difficult for his development. So I think they target both spots in the portal, and I think Texas comes away very aggressive with who they end up snagging as well.
Rod, any thoughts on the portal, either based on what CJ just said, either what's happened already or what's to come in the next couple of weeks?
No, I just expect Texas to be really aggressive. We talked about being all in for Arch. I expect them, everybody believes this is Arch's last year. So with the way he ended the season, he could start out as one of the best players in college football next season. You want to and he did that, by the way, with limitations. I'm being kind here, in pass protections on the offensive line. So I think you got to go all in on the O-line. You pray that CJ's right, that Trevor Goosby is coming back, and then you don't have to remake the entire thing. Basically, you just had to worry about that interior offensive line. And I think ultimately for Texas, being aggressive on defense too. I think they got to be the most aggressive they've been since Sark has been here in the portal. He hadn't, been a guy who's went after offensive linemen in the portal. That'll be the first time he's doing that too. So I think aggressive is probably the term I'd use for Texas, considering your last season with Colin Simmons, last season with Arch Manning. You don't want to waste those types of talents because you don't get them all the time. You get good players, but those guys trending toward being top 10 players for you, 2 of them, right? So you want to make sure you double down on that investment for sure.
No doubt. CJ, we've had some awards come out this week, and we covered the All SEC coaches team that came out earlier this week, but unfortunately the AP All SEC team dropped right about the time we were figured out Sharon Moore is no longer going to be the head coach of Michigan. So it kind of went out of sight, out of mind for everybody. But CJ, based on what we know about the coaches team, you look at the first team selections for Texas. One that stood out to me, DJ Campbell was a first team selection on the offensive line. Anthony Hill was actually a first team selection by the AP. He was a second team selection by the coaches. So, they made right that wrong. Colin Simmons on the first team defense. I don't think that surprised anybody. Ryan Niblett, the AP doesn't do a return special, but Ryan Niblett, second team all purpose. Casey Concepcion was a first team all purpose. Trevor Goosby on the second team. Michael Taaffe was a second team all SEC selection by the AP. CJ, as you dissect and break down and digest the all SEC teams, is there anything still to you that doesn't sit right, or that somebody that was left off that should have been added?
Well, look, I think there should have been some love for Jelani McDonald. I've said that since any of these teams came out. Look, I think it's fantastic for DJ Campbell. He finished the season phenomenally. So going into and kind of parlaying that into the bowl game, and then obviously I think he's playing in the East-West Shrine game up in Frisco as well. That's fantastic for what draft stock he will have, which, look, I think he was going to be a 6th or 7th round guy. I think he might be able to sneak down because of the way he will test and probably perform well in these Senior Bowl moments. So that's exciting for him to earn the first team. Big nod for DJ Campbell, finishing as the 5-star prospect that we all hope to see during his career. Fantastic for DJ. And then moving back, look, I think it's just more of the same, right? And Texas, for me at least, is, in a spot where next year you're set up very well for a lot of key returners at a lot of key positions who are on these lists already. And that's something that should be very exciting for Texas fans as they look ahead to 2026.
Yeah, it's a strange thing is, like, the premium positions, Texas is in a really good spot, right? We talked about that all the time for the NFL. Those are the positions that are paid the most money, valued the highest. Quarterback, edge rusher in a good spot. You got to get your wide receiver and Ryan Ringo, who got some nods and some accolades from all SEC. Cornerback, I got to get that going. They got to figure it out because that's a young group out there. But I like Grayson Littleton. If you're throwing him in the conversation, he probably should have got some love for the all freshman team. So say that. He might talk about snubs. I think Grayson Littleton got snubbed because he's not getting enough love on these all freshman teams. I mean, dude was a beast for Texas, and you can put his resume up against any freshman DB, and he'll probably be able to hold his own. So I think that's something we'll consider too. And shout out to Lance Jackson because I know he did get the nod. He deserved it. Well done.
Yeah, that all SEC freshman team. Again, Lance Jackson very well deserved, but I'm with you, Rod. The fact that Grayson Littleton's gotten no postseason love on these awards is bizarre. Rod, I'll actually let you start with this one as we wrap it up. Michael Taaffe, we know he won't be back in 2026 because he's out of eligibility, wins the Warfel Trophy. Now, if you look at some of these trophies, the Campbell Trophy has become kind of the academic Heisman, for lack of a better term. The Warfel Trophy is basically like the equivalent of the NFL Man of the Year. It takes on-field play, community service, academic achievement, basically rolls all that into one. Michael Taaffe wins the Warfel Trophy. He's the second Longhorn to win the Warfel Trophy. Sam Acho was the first.
I knew it wasn't Acho.
And Michael Taaffe also has been named captain of the All-State AFCA Good Works team. So, Rod, just, a really, really nice send-off for one of the kind of feel-good career arcs we've seen on the 40 in a while.
No doubt about it. Okay, can I ask, what's the walk-on award, the Bullsworth Trophy?
Earlworth, yeah.
He didn't win the Bullsworth then.
Well, when you're going against Drew Mestamaker from North Texas this year, I don't think anybody really had a chance.
Just another quarterback award, huh?
That's true. Exactly. I'm just saying, but you're right. That North Texas quarterback did ball out. But yeah, no, his legacy is cemented at Texas. I want to say it's the greatest walk-on story in the history of Texas football. Maybe as another. I'm not talking about when Ricky Williams walked on. Those guys who got drafted into baseball. No, I'm talking about real walk-ons, not the technical walk-ons. But yeah, I mean, it's an amazing story. I'm glad that he represents DBU because also off the field, he's just as impressive as a human being as he is a player on the field. And so shout out to Taaffe, man. Congratulations on that. And he's going to get drafted. Like, it's going from walk-on. I don't know where he's going to get drafted, all right, because I don't know how he's going to test and all that. But at one point, a team's going to say, we'll take him. We'll take Michael Taaffe. And so he turned himself into an NFL draft pick. Nobody saw that coming, probably except for Michael Taaffe and his people. His people probably saw it coming too. Yeah.
100%. CJ, you've got the last word on Mookie Taaffe or anything else we've covered here.
Yeah, absolutely. A fantastic representative of the university, fantastic person on and off the field, comes from a great family. He's going to represent the University of Texas well, wherever he ends up, whether it's, a 10 or 15-year career in the NFL, if he goes into coaching, if he goes into business, real estate, whatever it is, he's going to be a fantastic representative. He's going to be welcomed back to the 40 acres basically anytime he wants. And hopefully after those playing days are done, he would make a fantastic coach, hopefully back down here in the Burnt Orange. So for Michael Taaffe, for his family, it's fantastic. Couldn't be happier for him. Fantastic kid.
Yep, he for me is firmly in the kind of Fozzie Whitaker, Major Applewhite folk hero role.
Yes.
Is what Michael Taaffe is for this era of Texas football. All right, CJ, Rod, thank you guys for the knowledge and expertise. As always, thank you to Matthew behind the scenes for producing it. Thank you to our friends over at Advanced Pain Care for sponsoring it. If you're not a member over at ontexasfootball.com, that's all right. You can get over to the site right now and sign up using the promo code OTFOG, and that'll get you 1 year of access at ontexasfootball.com for just $39.95. Make sure that you like this video and that you're subscribed to the On Texas Football YouTube channel. That way, whether it's here on the channel or on the site, you're not missing any of our Longhorn coverage all year round. For CJ, for Rod, for Matthew, for the entire On Texas Football staff, I'm Jeff Howe. Thank you so much for watching and listening. And until next time, hook 'em.
Go Navy.